Welcome to Playing in Traffic.
Hey everybody, welcome.
Hi guys, welcome back. We're on our 10th episode here.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
We should have a celebration. We should have a hit from the bong. 10th episode. Cheers.
You take a hit from your bong. I'll take a little sip of my coffee here. Woo woo. Okay, so today's episode, Toni has handed it over to me, Lindsey, the sister, so that I can give a little bit more detailed version of the story from like the family member's perspective. And we thought it'd be a fun Christmas, pre-Christmas episode because I'm going to jokingly point out a few hilarious things that happen in the family when you have a sibling who doesn't celebrate Christmas for a really long time and then decides to do it again. And so we're going to talk about that. But before we get started, Toni.
Yes.
I have a surprise for you. Okay?
Okay, let's see it. Let's hear it. What is this about?
The other night when we were at Mom's,
kind of scared, guys.
Went through her crawl space.
Yeah.
And I found a cute little old journal.
Oh, God.
Of yours.
Is that mine? I kind of remember.
Yeah. And I just wanted to share some of your religious.
Share my journal. There has to be copyrighted or something.
Yeah, well, I'm not staking claim to the words. These are from the mouths of my sister.
The mouths of babes. Oh God. Okay.
And you might have been in like middle school because if you could see your handwriting here.
Oh my gosh, that's my book. Why do you have my book?
Beautiful cursive. Well, I just have some Christmas poems that you wrote in here.
Oh my goodness.
That I thought would be a great way to start this episode, if you don't mind.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah. Okay, you ready?
You guys, this is incredibly embarrassing. You know what? I'm gonna find your middle. Stop barking. I'm gonna find your middle school journals, and then I'm gonna put them on our podcast next week. Coming up next episode, y'all.
I have them all stacked against the wall in my bedroom. If you want them.
Okay, I do.
I dare you. That would be hilarious.
Okay, anyway, let me hear what my middle school.
This says Happy Birthday, Jesus.
Happy birthday, Jesus. I really thought that Christmas was Jesus' birthday.
Yeah.
I felt so gypped when I found out it wasn't. Okay, like every year we would sing him happy birthday. I would like tell him happy birthday all day in my head. We would go to church. Like he was my buddy. That's why it was so devastating to find out.
Yeah. Okay. This poem, this little gem here. You died on the cross for us. In return, I love you forever. No one will ever take your place. Happy birthday. Love to. What do you think about that poem?
That is so sad.
It's sad, but very cute.
It's very cute. God, I was brainwashed from a very young age.
No, I think it shows that like we come from like a, it was normal for us to think that it was Jesus' birthday and that we loved him. So you had kind of like a base tone of Christianity in your heart.
I mean, from the minute I have a memory, I remember Jesus like as being my buddy. And I talk to him all the time as if he was like my imaginary friend.
Totally. It is like an imaginary friend. It's very weird.
And then I just morphed that into like a father and a mother as opposed to like a hippie Jesus guy.
Yeah.
But then I saw a picture of a black Jesus. I remember the first time I ever saw a picture of a black Jesus, and I was so shocked.
And then we're like, oh, that makes more sense, actually.
I had never even considered that Jesus could be black, which I don't know why. It's so stupid, of course.
Stupid when the only image you see is of like blonde, blue-eyed.
Always. That was the only image that we were ever shown in our times, in our life.
Eastern. He definitely looked more like Osama bin Laden than
for sure.
Mel Gibson. Okay, guys.
Oh, I feel sad for my little self who just always felt like she loved Jesus.
Toni, okay, how about on the next episode? I'll go grab my own notebook. I have literally almost the same kind of poems to Jesus.
I know. How weird.
I would be like, Dear Jesus, guess what? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, next one. Here's another Christmas one. So, oh so near to Christmas time, the tree is up and the bells chime. Jesus Christ was born today, says a boy while thinking of Santa and his sleigh. People
Oh.
are merry. And that's it. And then you're
That's
like,
it. That's where it ends.
okay.
I must not have been able to come up with something that rhymes with Mary.
And then, and then you have a drawing of somebody named Desi. Was that your friend?
Oh, that was my friend.
Oh, because you have a lot of like letters back and forth with Desi.
Oh, what? Okay. I want this book. Next time I see you, I'm getting my diary back of my Christmas stories that I want to publish in my next novel. Okay.
Okay, wait, this is a side note too. Toni had a poem published in a poetry book when she was a
Read this
kid.
one.
No. I just know that one off the top of my head. Why is there war? Wait,
No,
I
you
don't know.
don't. Okay. No, you don't. MoveOn.com.
Okay.
MoveOn.com.
No. I
You
wanted
guys,
to.
I was a poet. I love poetry. I've always loved writing. It's always helped me. And you know what I've always wrote in my diaries is like letters to Jesus. Like my letters are always like to like God to help me, and like help me process things. But now I'm just like, oh God, do not help me.
Yeah. Oh gosh. No, I thought you were famous. I thought it was so cool. I used to like tell all my friends that you were a published writer. We were like 7.
But even when you think about like the contents of some of my poetry, it was like idealistic, like like a world where everybody can live in harmony and there's no war and there's no like ugliness. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like
So,
that was such my idealistic point of view, and that's why I think I was able to like fall into some of the traps.
yeah, but you're still like that. You can still be that way without.
I just don't want to be naive, right? I want to be idealistic without being naive, but I was also in my early 20s. So what do I know in my early 20s,
Yeah.
right? That's the whole problem. That's
Yeah.
hilarious. I love those poems.
Okay, just one more
I
and
do
then
not remember writing those at all, but I remember being in love with Christmas and really loving Jesus.
yeah. Okay, this one. The baby cries, the bird sings. Oh dear Lord, let Mother Nature ring. The sky so blue, and the pond so clear. A flower blooming means that spring is near.
Oh, that
That
had
must have
nothing to
been
do
an
with
Easter
Christmas,
poem.
baby.
Very good. Really
Thank
beautiful.
you. Thank you. I'm so glad that we rehashed this. Does it have
Oh,
a year?
I found one more, but it's a little. It must have been when you're older, and it's a little more intense. Can I read it?
No, don't read it. But can you tell me the year? Does it have a year on it? I would always put dates.
Oh, Tony, you have to let me read this one because it's
No.
older and like really. It's it starts off with God, are you there?
Oh my God. Why are you doing this to me?
Let me read this one, and if you hate it, we'll delete it.
Okay.
Okay. God, are you there? Can you hear my scream? Can you hear my prayer? I slowly wilt away, waiting for an answer, something you may say. But all I hear is silence. Have you left us here, Lord, to deal with all the violence? Ooh, that was a good one. Pregnancies and deaths are common among teenagers, along with murders and thefts.
Ooh, nice rhyming.
Nice rhyming. See, that was you like that.
Is that the end?
Yeah, that's the end. But like your handwriting is definitely different there, so you're definitely like older.
I'm definitely becoming more tortured in my soul. But I mean, you can see that from a young age. I was like wondering why, what's the point of all the violence and like
Yeah.
God to come help us and save us. And so
You're like, wait a second. Why is God
people,
making us suffer? Why did he?
people that are, well, that's like a common life question, right? So
Yeah.
when these cults,
Have an
you
answer
know,
to that
but
question.
it's so sad because obviously it's such a vulnerable position that you're in as a young kid.
Yeah.
I mean, God, you were in youth group when you were like in middle school and like early high school, and that's a young age.
I loved it too. Because
Mm.
you're like, this is so fun. I get to eat pizza. I get to sing songs on stage with all my friends. And
That's when it's hard to tell. When is it a cult, and when is it like just kind of a weird thing where people get together and it's just kind of, has no real like bad intentions or anything. It's just kind of weird.
well, that's kind of what I was going to kind of lead into with today about being a family member who was really like into that as a kid, the youth group stuff. And then realizing for myself, like, oh, this feels like really like fake. The kids who I go to church with are also like the most unruly and like morally corrupt people like outside of church. Like once they're not in church and they're not like up on stage singing. Not all of them. Okay, like some of my best friends are still people that I know from there. So like I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about people that I like never spoke to after I left the church because I was like, y'all grew up in this like really beautiful church, and then like as soon as your parents aren't looking, you're like drinking and having sex and like weed and like doing all these things. And I'm like, that was kind of why I was like drawn to the church, because I felt like it was like the one place where I could go to like not do all those things, you know?
Yeah.
Because I had like, you know, already been introduced to all that and was like, oh, that's like really intense at a young teenage.
They're all rich people, weren't they? All rich people, so they did a lot of rich people crimes.
Like it was definitely, and so for me, I had a distaste in my mouth like 16, 17 for church, because I was like, those people are like way more wild than the other people who I knew before, you know, my other set of friends that are not
even go to church.
but at least they're like morally sound in a way, you know?
Right.
Anyway, so nobody specific. I mean, I can think of people specific, but nobody that I still talk to or anything. So I'm not calling anybody out on this. Anyways, and so I was coming out of that as you were being introduced to your church. And so, and then I also got pregnant. Like, I think I was I got pregnant like right when when you got baptized.
Yeah. Yeah, 2006.
Okay, so you got baptized in 2006. When I got pregnant, I like moved like an hour away, and I just like cut off ties with everybody for like the whole time I was pregnant.
Not on purpose. You were just like working and tired and eating a bunch.
I was like going through a lot.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really like see what you were doing for almost a whole year. Like I knew that you were like getting involved in a church and that it was kind of weird and intense and blah blah blah. But when I had my daughter, you and I had already always planned like let's live together, because you were gonna have your son, and we're like, we're gonna have little babies. Let's get in an apartment together. So that was always kind of like the plan. Like, okay, let's live together once the babies are born.
Yeah.
So like it wasn't until I moved in with you and your husband that I was like, oh my gosh, you guys are like really intense in this. And it was just so fascinating at the time, because I was like, all religions feel culty to me, because at that point I'm just like, it's a weird church, but I'm in a mind space where all church is weird to me now. Like it all feels culty. So like whether it's your weird version of it or like all of the other versions that are widely accepted, I feel like I was a little bit in the mindset of just like, yeah, whatever. Like if you want to believe in this, I don't care, you know, whatever. I think it's weird, but so I don't think I was really like seeing the intensity of it. Like, but there were like a few things in the beginning. We talked about this. The Tuesday night service was specific for you to go get your sins washed from like living in a house with an unbeliever.
Yeah, so there was a lot of conflict between us, because I was like, I'm going to get holy. Okay, and so they would use this verse that said that you had to be cleansed in the Old Testament. You had to be cleansed from being around dead bodies, and on the third day and on the seventh day. And so you guys were like the spiritually dead. And so, especially because I lived with you, so I was like constantly surrounded by you.
Yeah. And I'm like, that is so rude. And you're like, I'm sorry. You're not a believer. You're not baptized in my church. I have to go cleanse my family every Tuesday night. And you guys are
all day Saturday.
All night. Yeah. And then Saturday all day. Let's see. And that was kind of when like, I saw how much you guys prayed, like on a time schedule, like you would set your alarm.
Yeah.
And, if you're not okay with me saying this, we could take it out, but you would put your veil on.
Yeah.
Because women wear veils when they pray.
Yeah.
So every time you walk out into the living room, you'd be like head bowed, veil over.
Okay, it is a little weird. I mean, it's just a life of prayer.
No, I'm just like, I'm just explaining like those were the things that I noticed that I was like, oh, this is like a little different. Like I've been in a few different churches, but I've never seen anyone like set their alarm and put their veil over their head.
I know. It's
like
so much.
It was a lot, but living with you was when I was like, oh, okay, all right, this is a little different. This is a little different. And that was when you and your husband got married, and your wedding was interesting.
Yeah, so we
But
were living together that whole time, huh?
yeah, because I remember we were just like, you guys should get married. It was like
Yeah.
really abrupt, like, let's throw
Well,
your
we had
wedding.
been engaged, and then we were just like, yeah, let's do it. The end of the world is coming.
Oh,
The end of the world is coming, so let's get married.
you should say when you got engaged.
Oh, we got engaged on Christmas Eve?
Yeah, the year
Yeah.
before, right?
Yeah, so well, that was before we came into the church. And I loved Christmas, you guys. I loved Christmas. You can ask everybody, like, I just loved Christmas all the way up until I found out that it wasn't Jesus's birthday. And then I felt like I had been hit by a bus. And that was really the way, like I said many, many times, that's the way that they got me.
Yeah.
Using like a real fact to sort of like draw me in. And then eventually I was able to just believe their whole doctrine. But anyway.
Yeah, you really did love Christmas. I'm
I
sorry, those
did.
poems were funny the first time I read them, but they're not actually very funny anymore.
It's kind of sad because all those years, like I missed like 10 years. And so this year's really fun. Like this weekend, we did so many Christmassy things. Like I watched The Grinch with my baby, and I've never seen the newer one, like the Dr. Seuss
Okay.
one. It was so cute.
Again.
And we wrapped gifts and we went shopping. And like it's so fun to go pick things out for people that you love and like surprise them. And that's my favorite thing about Christmas. But
Yeah.
it's been really, really fun. Sorry, keep going.
Oh, don't be sorry. Okay, so that was also when we lived together. I kind of mentioned this on one of the episodes when you guys were sick and they came looking for you.
Yeah.
We lived together then, and then you also went to South Korea when we lived together.
Oh, that's right. My baby was so little.
Yeah, and you went for like a week and a half or 2
It's
weeks.
usually 10 days.
Yeah,
I think it's 10 days. Yeah.
and like I remember being a little bit jealous because I was like, I want to go to South Korea. That sounds so fun.
Oh.
But like, I was like, can I come with you and just like not go into your church? I'll just like go tour around. I don't know, like part of me thought that was kind of cool. I was like, that's cool that you're not, limiting yourself to like, well, I'd love to go, but I have a baby. You were just like, fuck it, I'm doing it. So I thought that's kind of rad in a way at the time because I was like,
it was, but that was so hard. It was so hard to leave my baby. He was 2 months. Like that was really, really hard. And then I would always try to call home and it would be like, 5 a.m. when I would try to call or like 2 a.m. It was that was really hard. And you do feel like so much pressure to go and you have to come up with money to go. And like, you don't have any money. So you like scrounge or you beg or like you borrow money. Like so many of us borrowed money from each other. So many of us got credit cards just to be able to go. And we spent years trying to pay those off to go to all of our trips to Korea because me and my husband have both been 2 times.
I didn't know.
And that's not cheap, to go overseas. Huh?
I didn't know he went twice.
Yeah, he went twice and I went twice separately. We went separately.
Crazy.
Yeah,
That's
sorry.
So
anyway,
I mean, if you have to take away a cool experience, you got to go to South Korea twice.
It was. Oh my God, it was so cool.
That's
So cool. One of the coolest things in my whole life.
Let's go back, but not there.
Yeah.
Let's go do like a cool trip. Okay.
For sure. Let's go. I want to go to Japan. I want to go to Korea. I want to go everywhere.
I want to go all of the places. So
Me too. I missed so many years of travel. Let's do it. Okay. Anyway, sorry. Keep going. So now so in the timeline, you're just sort of like coming to realize how crazy we kind of are. Not crazy, but just how immersive and how invasive it is in our daily life. And then you're going to celebrate the holidays. Yeah. And we're probably just like sitting at home twiddling our thumbs on Christmas Day. Like we wouldn't go anywhere. We didn't want to leave the house. We didn't want to see Christmas lights. We didn't want to hear Christmas music. And that's really hard to do when you live in the world,
Yeah, because from like November until the end of December, I remember you guys being like, it's everywhere. It's in the grocery stores.
No, October. From Halloween until January.
Which you don't celebrate, which you didn't celebrate either.
Exactly. That's what I mean. So like October to January, you're just like, okay, this whole time of the year sucks.
Yeah. No, and I remember like being aware of it for you. Like there is a lot of like, if you don't celebrate these holidays, it is probably really weird and really invasive. Yeah. So then we kind of like parted ways living wise. Like I still saw you and talked to you pretty regularly, like on a daily, weekly basis, but we weren't living together anymore. And that's when you started moving in with random people from the church You
Right.
didn't live at the church yet, but you were like having roommates from the church.
Yeah, we
And
would have like 4 or 5 roommates at a time.
yeah.
And I actually lived with Chad's wife. And like he would come over late at night and they would like, giggle and like flirt and stuff. We're like, oh, they're so cute. But we lived with so many people. And we lived like probably 2 blocks from the church, just like Chad said. And so every day, me and my little baby, I'd put him in a stroller and we'd just like walk our way to church because we could, because they moved us so close to church that you could walk.
Well,
Crazy.
that reminds me of a story that we laughed about last night.
Yeah.
One time I was at your church for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't remember what. I went to go back out of the driveway and your foot was under my wheel and I ran over your foot. But then you were like, oh my God, freaking out. And so I stopped the car and I was like,
on top of my foot.
top of your foot. And you're like, move. And my brain wasn't registering like what was happening because you were reacting, but you weren't reacting the way that I would think you
I
would.
was trying to be quiet because inside you guys there was a baptism going on, and I was like, just move your car. I can't scream because there's a baptism, and if I go in there, they're gonna like shame me so much for being ungraceful and being out here screaming while there's a baptism.
So I was
like a holy moment.
What? I was like starting to get out of the car. Like, what happened? Did I like run over something? And then she's like, you're on my foot.
So ridiculous.
So funny. Anyways, I'm sorry for running your foot over. And then like probably a good 30 seconds of leaving my car on your foot. Because I was just trying to figure out what was going on. Anyways, we were
okay, then let me just say I walked into the church with my baby. I went preaching that day. I was all bruised and everything. Still went preaching every day. Had to do it.
Yeah, you probably broke your foot.
Had to get my blessings.
I feel like I broke your foot. There's no way.
Hilarious.
My whole car was on top of your foot for like 30
Thanks a lot.
So, and I okayed this with Toni before I share this story, but one of the very few things that Toni did at the time that really pissed me off that I'm going to share here to just sort of to show the intensity of what was going on. They lived with church members, and Toni asked if she could borrow rent until they got their check at the end of the month or whatever. And I was like, that's fine, but
it's always scrounging penny by penny. Okay. Anyways,
my whole life savings, so you have to pay me back on Friday, okay? And she's like, absolutely, I'm going to pay you. Like, my husband gets paid this week. We're going to pay you right back. So I give her the money for their rent, and then she gives me half of it back. And then I'm like, oh, no, I need all of it back. And she's like, well, the other half was for my roommates. And I was like, oh, I don't give a mother F if it was for your roommates. You're the one who borrowed the money from me. You are paying me back. And she did eventually pay me back. But that was like a thing where I was like, I'm going to disown you, dude. Like, that's all of my life savings. Pay me back. I didn't loan the money to your roommates. I loaned it to you. But she was in the mindset of like, they're my brothers and sisters. When you loaned me the money, you loaned it to all of us. And that was like that communal living sort of mentality. But I was like, I'm not in a position to be like handing my money over like that. Because we were all struggling. I mean, we were
young. We were babies. And we had young families.
Yeah.
But like, the thing is when you're in that mindset of like, you don't really care because the end of the world is coming, because we thought it was coming in 2012. So when you're in that mindset, you really don't care about money. And so you're just like, yeah. So everybody is sort of like loaning each other money. Everybody's sort of like helping each other out with their bills and stuff like that. Like, it's not really that big of a deal. So I was kind of like, I'll pay you back. Don't worry. You know?
Calm down. And I was getting so mad because I was like, you don't understand. Like, I loaned that money assuming it was all coming back at the end of the week. Like, that is like all that I have in my life savings right now. So anyways, she paid me back and it is all good. And now
it's all gravy, baby.
I can look back and like say, I understand the behavior now. But at the time I was like, we're going to go out in the parking lot and fight this out. I'm going to bite you to the ground until you pay me back.
That's hilarious because I didn't even realize you were that mad. I was just like, I'll pay her when I pay her.
Yeah, you were very cash about it. And I was like, this is not cash. This is survival for me. Because...
Well, it's boundaries. And it's like, it is a serious thing. But like when you're in it, you're just like, Why are they making such a big deal out of this? Like, in the big scheme of salvation, money is not important. You know?
That was what was it. That was where the disconnect was. Where like to me, it was like literally like my survival.
Mm-hmm.
And for you, it was like the world's gonna end tomorrow. It doesn't matter, you know. And so I was like,
Yeah.
anyway. So after that, and I think after that too, actually, I think that was kind of when I realized like it was the first time I ever felt like, oh, I have to be careful with my sister.
Yeah.
I kind of had a feeling like, because I had never had that thought before of
Like, maybe I would do some shady stuff. And I definitely could have. I mean,
take advantage of me without me even like realizing you're doing it.
so crazy.
And even you're not trying to take advantage of me, but like
right.
asking something of me that I can't provide to you because I'm not in a position to do that.
Even if you were, you shouldn't have provided it to me.
It
Do
was
you know
a
what I mean?
boundary that I didn't set for myself yet that I had to learn later in life, that it wasn't just this one situation, but like so many times I've done that where I've given what I don't have to give and then been like so angry with like the person and with myself for like over sharing, over giving.
Yeah.
And I was never in the position in the first place. And so that was a boundary that like that was my life lesson I needed to learn on my own thing.
Yeah.
But the first time I remember that feeling was like, oh, like I love my sister so much, like I would give her my whole life savings just assuming she's paying me back.
Yeah.
Not even like thinking.
But I did. Okay, I did. It just took a long time. And you know what? I probably stressed about it all the time. I just had to save up little by little because we didn't have any money.
Well, but it wasn't.
Which it isn't an excuse, but like I said, it's just a different kind of mindset. So it's very, very weird. I
remember you were like, I've asked them again for it and they just don't have it. They just don't have it. So like you weren't just like, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But in your head, you were like, that was for their half of the rent.
Mm-hmm. And you're like, I don't care. I want you to pay me my money.
I just was like, I have to have that money back. I don't care who pays it back to me.
Yeah.
You're the one who borrowed it from me. Anyways, so thank you. I hope that made everybody feel not too uncomfortable that we're having a sibling talk through on this podcast in front of everybody.
Hey, that's what this is for.
Okay, and then that's kind of when like I moved away-ish. I just moved down to Denver. And you moved like into the churches at that point, and that was kind of when you and I like we didn't lose touch like 100%, but we definitely weren't having like our daily, weekly interactions like we used to. So when we would talk, it would be like, "Did you see the news about North Korea?" And I'd be like, "I can't really do this right now, Toni." You know, or like, "Don't celebrate Christmas, Lindsey. I'm telling you, don't do it. Don't do it." And so our conversations were more just like, oh God, my sister's calling. Someone turn on the news and see if there's something happening in North Korea. That's probably why she's calling me. Like I was kind of just like, oh man, I don't know what to do. But I didn't. Oh, and also at the same time, I'm also like researching your church all the time, like obsessively. So I guess I was like emotionally invested in it.
And I feel like the family like constantly confided in you, and so you were a little bit exhausted by that. Like they'd always be like, Lindsey, did you hear about this? Lindsey, this, and you were just like, oh my God, you guys, I have my own life, I have my own family.
Yes.
Yeah, Toni is exhausting me.
Yeah, like I felt exhausted on your end when I would talk to you, and then on their end. And that was the other thing that we've been joking about, like with Christmas coming up. This is what like started the whole idea of doing this episode. Was Toni put it out there to our family to ask for anybody's leftover ornaments this year.
Because we need to recycle and I don't want to go buy new things. Okay. And I want it to be special.
Yeah. And you don't have anything. You haven't celebrated for like 15 years. Totally understand. Okay. Our family was like, oh my gosh, we're so excited for you to celebrate. Here's all these family heirlooms. Here's all these beautiful, precious items. This came from the 1920s. And I'm like, are you guys serious? I have spent every year celebrating Christmas with y'all asses. Where are my family?
I know. My tree is so special. It's like all the best ornaments. Thank you, Grandma. Thank you, guys.
No. And it's just
that a tree from our husband's family, from my mother-in-law. The tree is from my mother-in-law. All the ornaments are from my grandma, my dad, and my mom. It's so cool.
It's so funny. And then we were like decorating the tree at my mom's this weekend, and every like third ornament has a picture of Toni's face on it from like when she was in first grade, second grade, third grade. And every time we would pull one out, I would just be like, "You got to be fucking kidding me!" Like every time we pull another Toni ornament out, I'm like, did mom just have these like stored away and was just like dying to put these on the tree, and now there's like this special Toni stash?
That's hilarious.
It's just been really funny to like as we're doing this podcast together, and now that she's celebrating again, I'm overplaying the like jealousy card, but it is funny because it's very
It's funny. Well, I remember when she would put her tree up, she would secretly let my little boy decorate the tree when I wasn't there, which I knew she was doing that. And,
I said not me, our mom.
No, my mom. And there would be pictures of me on the tree, and I would get so pissed. I'd be like, Mom, I don't celebrate Christmas. Get my face off that pagan symbol.
Yeah, so I think now that everyone is like, okay,
Probably.
Tony's into it, we're all like super into
It's like
it.
an overcorrection. It's amazing. I love it. Thank you guys. It's awesome.
Yeah, thanks guys. I'm super excited. I'm just kidding. I am excited. This is gonna be a great year. But that was what would happen too, is like I would go to Thanksgiving dinner and they would be like, "Oh, you know what would really make this so special? I wish your sister was here." Everyone would be like super bummed, and I'd be like, hey guys,
I'm here.
me and my daughter are here. Is that cool? Like, what can I do?" And so like truly I feel like I never could have missed a Thanksgiving. I couldn't miss
Right.
Christmas. And so this year for Thanksgiving, I went with my in-laws.
Yeah.
And I missed my family, but I had so much fun. And I told Toni, I think part of it is that you're taking a little bit of the burden of always having to be the one at the family functions. That
Right.
if I switch off and go, because there was so much like anxiety about
Sure.
missing Thanksgiving to go to like the in-laws, or like to,
Right.
if I
I
could,
didn't go to any of it. I was like, peace out, y'all.
yeah.
I'll be at home hiding
And so
because I'm afraid of all of this.
I wasn't really like, there was no space for me to be like, Mom, I'm not going to come over on Christmas, or Dad, I'm not going to come over on Christmas, because Toni already wasn't there. And so I had to like fill that void. I felt like I didn't realize that was how I felt at the time. But like looking back at it this year, I'm like, yeah, there's like kind of a relief of like as a sibling, you coming out of it now, I'm like, oh, I feel like a little bit more of freedom for my own family, where we can say like, we'll meet you there. We'll be
Freedom from my own family.
haha.
That's hilarious.
No.
That's not what you mean. I know what you're saying.
And I say this all with love and joking. Like, our family's lovely.
I just think that we need to talk about this because it's not like we have talked about before. Like when you're in a cult, quote unquote, it's not just the person in the cult suffering. It's the family. It's the siblings. It's the parents. It's the step parents. It's the grandparents. It's the cousins. It's everybody involved.
Yeah.
And so like, especially as a sibling, especially as a parent, it's just like a very unique experience that you're going through, and like burdens that you're carrying and stuff like that.
Yeah. So back to the timeline of everything. So then your church okay, so then I'm like researching, and I'm still, you guys, I just am like resurfacing some stuff that I had researched in 2013. I was doing all of this research, and then I stopped abruptly because I was like, I can't find out any more about this. I'm never going to like know concretely about this aspect of it, which I don't want to say too much now because I'm still in the middle of research, and I want to kind of maybe ask for help from some other people that might know more about this. So
Right.
that will be maybe another episode later to come that will
like a deep investigative dive into
like part of me is like re-feeling the way that I did when I first started looking into it.
Mm-hmm.
Where I was like, I'm an investigative journalist. Like, I need a burner phone. What am I doing?
Okay, there's definitely a lot of shady stuff going on there,
There's some shady, and I can't tell how shady it is. It's definitely shady. I don't know if it matters or not, though. I can't loop back around to like why they are doing it.
Right.
That I'm talking about. So anyways, that'll be a later discussion. But I did that in 2013. I was like really into it. And then I kind of was like, okay, I can't like get anywhere with this. And around a little bit It must have been around then because it was after like 2012 where you guys had your doomsday, like come and go, and then nothing happened, and it got it got me thinking like, what happens if they decide to commit suicide? Then I
Mm-hmm.
started really like delving into other cults that like the suicide cults and like watching the Jonestown stuff and reading about Heaven's Gate and like watching those documentaries. I was like, oh my God, like I actually feel now I'm actually kind of nervous for my sister to be in this because she's so far into it at this point. They never told, it was never the possibility, but it was like, oh, I can actually see my sister being able to get to that point in her brain.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when I was like getting a little more like, hey, like maybe you should come out of this church. Maybe like come over here. Let's go do something else. And so I think you were kind of naturally coming out of it on your own at the same time that I was starting to get a little nervous where I was like, you guys are good, right? Like, how's your mental health? You guys are good? The talk of like the world ending again. We're not going to go there. So anyways, so that was, it wasn't for like years and years that I actually started to get nervous for you to be in there.
Well, as you get closer and closer to 2012 and then 2013, it is scary when you're a doomsday cult and you're predicting, the end of the world. I mean, you mentioned some of those cults, and they committed like the worst mass suicides.
So if I can just for like real quick, so Jonestown is like a well-known cult, but
Were they called the People's? What were they called?
I don't remember.
I'm gonna
Well,
look.
one of the things that I learned about the night that they all died
Mm-hmm.
that like devastated me and like really scared me was that we learn about Jonestown and it's like a bunch of crazy people drank this poison and then they all died. But
Mm-hmm.
like what he was doing was for months before that night, he was doing fake drills where he would wake people up in the middle of the night and he'd say, the government is coming for us. It's now or never. Drink the Kool-Aid. Everybody drink it. And then, people were drinking this Kool-Aid thinking it had poison in it. Half of the people were like, hell no, we're not doing that. And he'd be like, you don't love me enough. This was just a test, but like you haven't shown your loyalty to me. You need to leave because they like lived in Africa. Didn't they live in like an island or something?
South America. They
South
went.
America.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they went.
So he was like, if you don't want to be here, then you can just leave. Like he was like kicking people out of the cult and everything. And he was doing that like on a weekly basis, those fake drills to like show their loyalty and show their loyalty. And so after a while, these people probably were like, this is probably just a fake.
Mm.
And then the time that he actually did it, he gave all of the poison to the kids first. Like he had the kids walk through the line first,
Mm.
the day that he actually did it. And so all of their children are dying in front of them.
Mm.
And so
Mm.
mentally, it's like, oh, we went into this thinking it was just a drill, but now I've just watched my child die in front of me. I have nothing else to live for. Of course, I'm also going like. Then it's not just these people are so crazy and they just committed suicide willingly. It's like the series of events that led up to them all actually drinking it, which is so fucking awful and like morbid. That like when I saw that, I was just like, it's not it's not cut and dry. Like you're crazy and you believe in a cult, and then you just commit suicide because you're
Just
crazy.
randomly. It's like, would that be considered grooming? Like
Yeah.
in a certain way of like preparing them and grooming them. But
Uh,
then you wonder if as a leader, you wonder if he was like, do you think that he had planned all along that that was the end result, or do you think he was just hopped up on drugs one night and was just like, this is the time, let's go? I think that he was getting pushed
no,
into the corner because remember that senator was coming to find him from
remember?
America.
But the night
Yeah.
that the senator left, they killed that senator
I know. That's
at
the
the
thing that
airport.
scares me about these cults is when they feel persecuted and when they feel like people are coming after them, that's when they really like dig in, and that's when they believe more, and that's when they do this crazy shit. But, I'm not saying that this church would do that, but I'm just saying, like you said, psychologically, you can see how all these things build up to it. And then as a family member, that's really scary.
Yeah, that was when
Mm.
I was like, oh, this is like not cool. I don't like her being in this anymore.
Yeah.
Because before that, it was kind of like they're weird. Like she wears her veil all the time. Yeah, not all the time, but
Yeah.
Before it was just like my sister's in this weird, annoying church that like prevents her from doing anything fun on Saturday.
Right.
Like, oh my God, my sister could have totally do something like that, and I would be so mad at myself. And I keep coming back to this, but like so much of talking through this, it feels like the way that family members feel when their family member is addicted to drugs.
Right. Or in an abusive relationship that they can't get out of.
Relationship, and you're just watching them do these things, and you have no control over their behavior, but you're just like, I'm here for you when you're done.
I
I
know. It's
love you.
so
Don't feel stuck.
frustrating. I cannot even imagine. I cannot even imagine how that must have felt and how it must feel for family members now, you
Let's
know?
just say I'm sure your experience of it was a lot more intense and a lot worse, but that's what the whole point of this podcast or this episode was, just my quick little take on like the sibling half of it, like
Yeah.
it's
And
also intense, but
hmm
obviously the trauma has mostly happened to you.
I
But it's
know. I think it's a collective trauma, and that's why it's so crazy. But like you said, it's not just for people who are in cults, it's for people who are, abusing drugs or who are caught up in the opioid pandemic, It's just so crazy.
yeah.
Or caught up in QAnon or caught up in the political world, that's a whole nother
Totally.
thing that we
That
could talk
kind of feels
about.
the same too. Like when I was all going down, where like
Mhm.
families were split in half, and you're like, how could you, the loveliest human being that I know, also vote for like the most vile person that I've ever seen in public?
Funny. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, man.
It is its own cult. QAnon is for sure its own little cult.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, I think that's kind of all I really wanted to touch on that.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. I really like to hear your side of the story because, you know, you guys were so patient, even though it was not easy, and you went through some really weird things, and I put you guys through some funny things. So,
Yeah, I am happy that you're celebrating Christmas, but just this one Christmas, I'm going to milk it every time something funny happens. Like when we found the ornament without my name on it, is all of y'all's names except for mine.
oh, that was so funny.
But it was before I was born, so it's fine. It's acceptable, only because the date on it is before I was even alive. But it
That's
was a
hilarious.
joke where I was like, "Oh, look, my name's missing. How convenient."
Mhm. But it's fun to make these memories with my children, and like, yeah.
And then another thing, I I went back and listened to our podcast from last week about the healing, and I just want to like re talk about. I had talked about the Scathing Atheist podcast and cognitive dissonance being part of my healing. And I don't think I did a good description of the podcast because I was like, oh, it's just a bunch of boys in their basement laughing. But like, it is articulate and thought out. And like every single point that they make in those podcasts, I'm like, hell yeah, hell yeah. And it was like so instrumental to like reaffirm my own atheist beliefs. And it was really, really, it's a really good podcast. And when I re-listened to it, I was like, um, I don't think I gave it enough credit on the last one. So I just wanted to restate, like, Scathing Atheist, Cognitive Dissonance, Thinking Atheist, like, those guys are like brilliant writers, and it's a really, really good show. If you're coming out of the church or like grappling with your own atheism or spirituality in any way, and you need something good to listen to, it's awesome.
Yeah, so it's been really funny. Yeah, thank you for sharing, girl. That was fun.
Thanks for letting me do that one.
Yeah,
I don't know if it was as funny as I was intending it to be,
I
but
think it was amazing. I'm really glad that we get to share all of my deep, dark poems. So,
yeah,
so
are
that
you
was
okay
a
with
story
are you
time.
okay with that?
Yeah,
I'll take them out if you really don't like them.
we'll discuss later.
Yeah,
Dun, dun, dun.
we'll
Just
talk about
kidding.
this
We'll
later.
talk about this later, young
Off
lady.
the pod.
You guys, stay in contact with us. Call us, email us, let us know.
You know,
Let
like,
us know what your New Year's goal is. I've been thinking about my New Year's theme. What's your theme for 2022?
I don't know.
You know what's funny? Okay, can I tell you what would happen when we were in the church? So we'd be so busy, like, you know how you're doing, right? So you're like preaching, you're doing like, you're so busy, your brain is always jumbled and always just like can't focus, but like you're constantly told to give goals. So like there's such this expectation of like a New Year's goal, and it's just supposed to be really great, and you're just supposed to have this clear vision, and I could never do it.
Yeah.
But I feel like now that I'm out, I can actually have like a clear understanding of what I want for myself, you know? So I've kind of made my New Year's thing like my 2022 is going to be my year of freedom. What do you think of that?
I love it.
So I was thinking like freedom from like caring what other people think. Like as this podcast is growing, and you guys, it's growing. We are growing worldwide. It is really crazy. We have like 6 or 7 different countries, and we have so many states that are listening, like all over the country. It's really cool. So shout out to everybody. I love that.
What up, South Korea? We see you.
Yeah, we see you all. We see you, Malaysia and Belgium. It's so cool. And Canada. So anyway, it's making me feel a little bit panicky and a little bit nervous, because I feel like there might be some kind of, you know, pushback, or, you know, I really just feel sad because I don't want people to feel like I'm betraying them, because in a way I do still feel like they're my brothers and sisters, and kind of like I'm still connected to them in a weird way because we went through this experience together. Anyway, I want to be free from caring about what people think, because I have a right to my own story, and I have a right to say it, and so do you. We all do, right? We have a right to say whatever trauma we have.
Yeah.
So that's my freedom from all that caring about what people think, worrying about the end of the world, freedom from caring about what North Korea bombs there are. Like, I don't need to worry about that. I don't need to care about that. Freedom about, you know, freedom from being stuck in like their worldview, and freedom from thinking that I'm a sinful angel from heaven who has to like crawl her way back to God's grace.
Yeah.
You know, that's the kind of freedom that I want to have, and like freedom to do what I want and think what I want and eat what I want and sleep when I want and work when I want, all that stuff. That's the kind of stuff I want to be free from. So that's my theme for 2022.
Girl, it's all yours.
How about you? What's your theme? Have you thought about it?
No, I haven't really put too much thought into it. Mine would probably be, I got some stuff that's too personal to share.
All right. Well,
yeah.
Too personal to share. You just shared my diary, okay? so get out of here. Too personal to share my ass. Okay. Coming up in our next episode, Lindsey will be sharing her year for 2022. And you guys, let us know, what is your theme for 2022? What do y'all want to do? Because the world is yours, you guys. Seriously, like enjoy your freedom, because you know, losing your freedom and being stuck in these kinds of like grooves in your brain that you can't get out of, it sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. I don't mean it's too personal. It's that the first things that come to my mind are like, I need to like whittle those down into like a articulate like what I mean from those things. Right?
Yeah, okay, so think it out. Last night I was thinking out mine, so think out yours, and then our next episode, you guys, we have special guests coming. We have all kinds of stuff coming. We might be special guests on a really really cool podcast. So more to come on that. We'll let you know.
Yeah, okay, and I promise I'll read my Jesus letters. I have no shame. I just gotta fight, but I definitely wrote letters to Jesus, and I'll read those on the next one, to be fair.
Okay.
To be fair, I read yours today. I'll read my own, and they're probably word for word. I kind of did whatever you did, and honestly, I probably as a kid saw that you were writing letters to Jesus, and then I was, oh, cool, you can just write letters to Jesus because he's your homie.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought.
Good. So,
all right.
I love you.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, y'all, and we will see you really, really soon.
Yay. Boom, baby.
All right. Boom. Talk to you later.
Bye.